Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's live. I see a lot of you have already coming in right now, and that's great. And we'll say hi to everybody. I'm just testing the system here to see if everything's a go. I think it is. Come on up. Yep, everything's working fine. Okay, that is good. So let's see who's joining us right now. Barb was number one. She beat out Russ today in the chat. Says Russ is hiding. Okay. Nina says, greetings, Stephen Walter. I'm back again after such a successful sewing retreat on Saturday. Well, it's nice to see you back, Nina. And Dana is here, and Charlotte, and Sue Norfleet, and Karen B, and Jeannie, and Faith. Faith says, I'm sorry for the loss in Vancouver. Yeah, Walter just told me about it.
I just read it a few minutes ago. I didn't realize it occurred until then.
So what was it that happened? It was
there was like a Filipino festival or something like that, and like food trucks and I don't know what else, right? And I guess some guy ran a car through the crowd, and I think there's 11 people that died.
Jeez.
And apparently the guy that got picked up, he's 30 years old, didn't say much about him other than that he's known to the police and he's got mental problems.
Well, I would say he has mental problems, all right. And gee, we had that a few years ago in Toronto, north end of Toronto, a guy on a van, and I think they've just finished the trial of him back about 6 months ago or something. That was back, I don't know how many, about 3-4 years ago or something like that. This is nuts. People are nuts. They really
and I think there was one last year or something in New Orleans or something.
Oh, yeah.
There's been a few in Europe.
Yeah, there was one at a German Christmas market. Jeez, I don't get it. What's with these nut jobs out there? In this country, probably part of the problem is the mental health care is not really that good, at least to hear it from the advocates for it and everything. But how does that help the situation though? I mean, you have to be able to diagnose somebody with serious problems beforehand to give them help.
So when they have these festivals, they're going to have to start being a little bit more proactive at not allowing cars to get into them.
Well, yeah, they really should put up some of those concrete barriers.
Well, I think some of the festival was, based on what I saw on the news thing, that it was being held like in the street or something. They closed off a street or something.
So obviously they didn't close it off very well.
A good job of closing it off.
God, you can't do anything anymore without some nut job threatening your life. That's terrible. Okay, so Alice is here. Hi, Alice. And Nancy's here. Once again, thank you so much for a wonderful retreat held yesterday. I'm glad you liked it, Nancy. And Barb says she liked it too. Gloria's here. Hi, Gloria. Jean E is here as well. And John's here from Art East Quilting Company. And I think John probably had a good day yesterday. A number of people said that they were going to go to his site, so I'm happy about that. I'm glad that they are, because
John gave a presentation and it was very good.
Yes, John's presentation was excellent. All about the Art East, and gave us a preview of what's coming and what's there available for everybody. And he gave everybody at the retreat yesterday a 15% discount, which was very, very nice of him. Walter took advantage of that discount. You bought two, didn't you?
Yeah, I bought a couple of patterns,
What did you buy?
The one with the gradient one. I can't remember what it was called. Gradient one with the exit. It looked like exits.
Oh, yeah.
And
the connections,
the Canadian
the one with the moose and everything, the Canadian wildlife or whatever it's called.
I might try that one. I like that.
Yeah, I like that one too, but I've got blowing up bunnies I got to do at some point, so I'm holding back. I don't want to get a whole pile of patterns and then they'll all be staring at me and saying, why haven't you made us yet? Because I'm busy. But yeah, they're wonderful patterns. And if you've never checked out Art East Quilting Company, and I don't know why you wouldn't have heard of it, because I mean, everybody is talking about it and doing them. Sean, on The Guy Who Sews, does them on a regular basis. There's lots of people out there on YouTube that are doing them as well. So check out John's website at Art East Quilting Co.
Yeah, just like he's got it. And
Oh yeah, he's got it there.
yeah, you do a search for that.
Yeah, or just put it in. So let's see who else is here. Tasha is here. Hi, Tasha. Everything just jumped to the top of the screen. Grant is here from Southern California, and Glenna Miller. Yep, Sue bought some patterns too. Dubrovka is here. Nice to see you too, Dubrovka. Pamela's here from Minnesota. Darcy Cole is here. Inez is here. Cindy Kiefer is here. You're welcome, Cindy. Rented Lips. Vicky is here. Hello, Vicky. Arta Burns from San Diego's here. Having a hard time hearing you two, and my volume is up to 20. Don't know why that would be. Let me just do a little monitor thing here and see. Vicky is here. Hello, Vicky. No, everything's
Arta
fine
Burns
at this end.
from San Diego's here.
Yep, our microphones are where they're supposed to be, so I'm not sure why you're having a problem. How's your hearing aid? Might want to turn that up. I'm joking. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. No, I'm not. Let's see what else. Karen B says I bought muffins and the Canadian Woodland one. Oh, that's the one you were talking about.
Yeah.
Canadian Woodland. Yeah. And people are thanking John. Yes. Sherry's here. Hi, Sherry. Marilyn's here.
Yeah, and Heidi gave a nice presentation.
Yes, I was going to get to that. And Cindy Fowler and Yoiti. And yeah, and of course we had Heidi, our own Heidi, that everybody is probably very familiar with, especially if you're on the Wednesday Sew Days, because Heidi's usually there. Heidi did a wonderful presentation about hand quilting. Almost made me want to do it until she was talking about sticking the needle down through and feeling with it on your finger, and I know exactly what would happen. It would be going splurt, splurt, splurt out of me, because you know I am not a hand sewer, not even close for that. Yes, it is a good group, John. It really is. You should join us one day on one of the Wednesday sews if you've got some time to kill or whatever. Links in the show notes for that. Okay, so probably be a few more people coming in. So let's talk about what we've been working on. What have you been working on?
I've been sewing some inside pockets and stuff. And
Inside pockets to what?
jacket.
A jacket for what?
For when we go away.
Oh, yes. Walter has me paranoid about pickpockets. I mean, it's not like it's the first time we've been to Europe.
Yeah.
We've been to Europe many times. And we've been to Holland before, not in quite a few years now. When was it when we went to Holland?
2004.
Was it
Almost
that long ago?
21 years ago.
Holy crap.
Remember, that's when we went.
Is it still above
I
water?
remember we went to Holland and Paris that day, year.
Yes, that's
We
right. Oh,
took
that's
the
right. We took the
high-speed
high-speed train. That's right.
Yeah,
Oh,
from-
yeah. Hi, Andy. And yeah, so we've been watching videos on YouTube, going down the rabbit hole, and I guess, you know, there's always been pickpockets. Any place you go to, there are pickpockets, but they have some really well, things that you should be aware of, like they like to get you cornered, like in busy subways or things like that. And this time on the trip, we are going all by train. Well, not from here to there, of course, because we can't hold my breath that long. But when we get there, we're going to travel around Holland by train, which is not something we have ever done.
No, we've never done. We've usually rented a car and driven around in that. But I just decided, I got to thinking about it with the car rentals and everything. Like we did, we rented a car in Australia last year when we went, and I've rented a car in Holland before, but I get uptight when I'm driving there and stuff like that. And I thought, they're very well connected by trains over there. It's almost like a giant subway system for Holland. So I thought, well, let's try trains this time. And I mean, if we can't get somewhere, we can always take an Uber or ride sharing or something, or a taxi from where we need to go. And that way I don't have to drive. And
I don't have to try. Well, the last time we were there, it was before we had GPS or anything. So I'm trying to read a map. It's in Dutch. The street names are in Dutch.
Yeah, it might have been a little easier with
They're
it.
this long.
And a lot of the bigger cities, the inner cities, and Holland really don't allow cars much in anymore. So I well, I don't know. We have a couple of cities we're going to that they do allow cars, but then there was another city we're going to where they don't allow cars. And I thought, and we like to stay in the center of the city, so and it's expensive to park there. So I thought, I mean, the trains aren't cheap either, but I thought it would be kind of nice to just try this and see how it goes.
Yeah, see how it goes. And I mean, like Walter said, it's not like traveling by train here in Canada because, quite frankly, our transportation system in this city and across North America really, when you get out of big cities, sucks. It's bad. So they've got it down pat in Europe. They know what they've been doing. They've been doing it for years. And when we go later in the summer back over to London, and we're going, of course, for the Birmingham quilt show, we'll be staying in London. But then we've got a place in Birmingham. Actually, we're attached. The hotel's attached to the center where the quilt show is going to be, right?
Well, it's right across the road from it.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
And we're taking the train from London to Birmingham with it too. So
yeah, and there's a train stop right next to where the show center is too. So we don't. I mean, it's very well organized there as to where everything is. So we'll just take the train up from London, and where we're staying in London's right next to the train station too. So
so this will be a little different. When you're in a foreign country, driving, well, he's got more guts than I would ever have. I would never even consider it.
Well, I did Australia for a few times. I've rented a car now 3 times in Australia. So
Australia's not so bad though, because it's kind of like driving here, except you're on the other side of the road. But when you're in a smaller country but very high density, and the trouble with, like, when we go to Amsterdam especially, everybody in Holland drives a bicycle, thousands of them. Yeah. And they have dedicated lanes, of course, for the bicycles. They have street lights for the bicycles, and you've got to be really careful when you're crossing over. It's probably one reason why.
Yeah, if you're crossing a street that doesn't have a stoplight or something like that, then you got to really be careful.
Yeah, but anyways, that's what we're going to try this time. And Walter's picked hotels where we're in the center, we're using the various cities in Holland as central points to travel out from, like several days in there. And when we go to Zwolle, they just had their 80th anniversary of their liberation.
Yeah,
and it was the liberations by the Canadians during the Second World War.
Zwolle is
we'll be celebrities.
Zwolle is the hometown to my parents, so that's where we're going there for 3 days. Maybe 2 days too long.
Yeah, maybe.
It's because it's a small town, and
I remember last time when we were there. The other trip, it was a little sleepy.
Yeah, well, I know we're going on a weekend, so they'll have the market there.
Yeah,
that, and if we're bored on the Saturday, I have an alternative place to go.
Yeah, Walter always has alternative plans. He should have been a travel agent. In fact, when we're in Utrecht, they have a
textile market.
And
it's done every Saturday morning from 8 till 10. So I'll be up
and
early.
We'll be there.
We'll be there. So. And it's within walking distance of our hotel. Actually, the hotel's right on top of the train station. So
yeah, I'm a little apprehensive about this trip, but I'm a little bit apprehensive about a lot of trips these days, and I have a feeling it's my age. I mean, we've traveled all over the place.
Yeah, I think we're out of practice.
Yeah, we are a little bit out of practice. We've been, well, when was the last time we were over anywhere near Europe?
Well,
because our last trip was Australia.
Yeah, probably around 2015 or so.
Yeah,
well, about 10 years ago.
10 years, so yeah.
And that's the year we took the one-day train trip from London to Paris.
Yeah, we did the channel.
We left at early in the morning in London, went to Paris, spent the day in Paris, and took the train back to London. All in one day.
Yep, in one day. That was kind of interesting. too. So we had been to Paris before though too. So
Yeah.
that wasn't our first time in Paris. We
And
just
that was one day, and that was interesting. But I'm glad we didn't stay any
yeah,
longer.
the things were
I'm
different.
not that fond of Paris, so
No, I know it's probably sacrilege. I hope Nadine's not on here. But yeah,
actually, it had gotten a lot busier in Paris
yeah,
than the last time we were there.
and there
And
were
that's a big complaint about a lot of European cities, including Amsterdam, that they're saying that there's too many tourists coming.
well, there's also a lot of people coming in who are, how do you put it mildly, undesirables. You know, they're the pickpockets and
Yeah,
things like that. That all that kind of stuff.
yeah. I think Europe is when they amalgamated into European Union, they stopped having borders, so you didn't have to show everything when you went from one country to the next, like your passport and that. And I think they're beginning to bring that back in. I think what they're doing is they're coming an electronic system of registering, and you have to pass. I'm not sure if they're actually making you pass a border or not, but I think they're trying to control it in a more organized way to keep undesirable people from traveling from one country to the next.
Yeah, well, I mean, but we have the undesirables here in our country too. And if
Yeah.
you go downtown Toronto and you get in a crowd down there are pickpockets there too. You have to be you have to use common sense when you're in a crowd. Don't leave your wallet in your back pants pocket. Secure all your belongings on you. Don't wear a lot of glittery jewelry or stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, knock wood, cross my fingers, don't want to jinx it. Only time we ever had something happen to us was in Paris, and we got off the train and we're going on to the subway system to get to where we were going. We had difficulty getting through the turnstiles with our suitcases. We weren't sure how they really worked at that time. We had bought, while we were here, day passes or whatever they were for.
No, there were 3-day passes.
3-day
on
passes.
the metro, and they were actually quite
They
expensive.
were quite expensive.
And a guy ripped me off.
Yeah, a guy pretending he was showing us and helping us
uh,
the bags, that.
Should have known better.
And you stick your ticket in one side of the machine, you go through the turnstile, and it pops it out in the other. He leapt over top of the turnstile and yanked it out, and
Yeah,
off he was
yanked it
gone.
out and took off.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I realized, oh, I just got ripped off.
And we're both standing there with our mouths open because it's kind of like, because we felt really stupid. I mean, we thought we were very much in the know, even at that point in time when this happened. We'd still traveled a lot in the whole bit, but it only took a split second, caught us off guard.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly, they distracted you. And that's their techniques for getting you for pickpockets. Someone will come up and rub up against you or get right into your face and try to distract you while their partner is,
yeah, apparently it
through.
happens a lot on public transit. So one thing is about getting into a crowd. Be careful to get into a crowd. And we have security on our.
We bought brand new suitcases for this trip because we haven't had new suitcases in a while. So they were on sale at the Bay. The Bay is no more, and Hudson Bay Company. And we bought those back. Before Christmas?
Yeah.
Back. So now we're not taking those. Now we have these backpacks that we're going very light, that have a lot of security features in them as well. And we have another smaller carry-on type. Actually, these you could carry on to an airplane, but we're not. We're going to check those. But we have smaller ones for like day trips and stuff like that are very secure.
They have
too.
security in them, but actually the other backpacks don't really have any security in them. We just have to put a lock or whatever on them.
But they're the ones, you mean the big one, the bigger ones, the ones, yeah.
But they'll just have our clothes in it.
Yeah,
and nothing in there that's,
no.
If they want to steal my underwear, go for it.
Oh, God help them. Walter likes to leave a little calling card anytime we travel with his underwear. He likes to throw it out. He takes his holiest, awfulest underwear and travel light, Get rid of clothing while you're traveling. More room for fabric in the bag. Speaking of which, I don't know how much I'm going to be buying fabric over there. In fact, I probably won't buy all that much. I'm going to be very, like, if it's something very, very unique I see that I can't get anywhere else and I really like it, then I might buy a little bit. But we're not going over there for buying fabric, not to Holland. Now, Birmingham, well, again, we'll see that, but we do want to go to Liberty in London when we're in London.
Yeah, we've been to London quite a
Yeah.
few times. I noticed somebody up here said they thought the train system was okay. St. Lobez loved the trains in England, but hated the food. I don't know. We always have good luck with the food.
Yeah, we've never had that. Like, okay, there are some things that you might not like, but one thing I find in London, anyways, lots of places to go to get Indian food, and it's good. And we like Indian food.
Yeah, and actually we found we stayed in a really good area in London near.
We're near Oxford Street.
Yeah,
which is the shopping district.
And there was we went to a really nice Italian restaurant one night.
Yeah.
We went to a really nice Indian, couple of nice Indian places.
Mind you, these were not cheap places.
No, they weren't cheap.
Yeah.
But they were good.
They weren't Panda Express or whatever what's that Nando's
or whatever. But I mean, the food in general, we went to a few pubs and had thing. We went to that wine bar and it was kind of nice.
The wine bar.
The one that was sort of underground and that was,
George's.
No, it was it might have been George's.
Yeah, that was the place that was sort of cavernous, and that one of our friends who'd been there recommended.
Yeah.
And that's the afternoon. We sat out on the afternoon and it has charcuterie. And
that's the first time I had a Scotch egg.
Yeah, we had a Scotch egg. Never had a Scotch egg before. They're good. I was really surprised. Yeah, well, we drank
2 bottles of wine.
Yeah, 2 bottles of wine. It was a good afternoon from what I remember. Yeah. Let's see here. So backing up, Suzanne Sierra, I think I said hello to her. Inez says, I drove in Ireland. Oh my goodness, I couldn't stay on the correct side of the road, and the gears for standard was different from here. Thought I would be arrested.
Well, you'd have to do your gears on your left hand instead of your right hand.
Yeah.
So
Inez also said she made a bag for her money and hung it inside my clothes, only taking in my fanny pack what I would use, no problems. Okay, I have a couple of problems with this. For me, not for you. First of all, the money bag thing. When we first started traveling, you could buy these things. You could wear them under your clothes. They go around your neck or around your waist, a money belt kind of a thing. Since we don't carry a lot of cash with us on these trips these days, we don't really do that per se. There's other methods now. But the fanny pack is definitely a no. I don't care.
I do. I do have a couple of security items I can put on that I don't have a coat. But I mean, we're not that paranoid, and we don't tend to get into a lot of really pushy crowds.
But you got to be careful in England too. So calling it a fanny pack, they call it a bum pack because fanny means something a little different in England when you call it a fanny pack.
Is that sort of like the difference between a serviette and a napkin?
Well, it depends on whether you're in the grocery store and you're looking at feminine napkin products, and you're reading the back of it. You're reading the French side, then it becomes a serviette.
No, I think that's Americans call it that.
What?
Americans, I can't remember if we call it napkins, and Americans call them serviettes or whatever.
No, French call them serviette. Serviette
we call the paper thing that you get with your McDonald's hamburger either a serviette or a napkin.
Yeah.
Right, but Americans call it something else. I think a serviette for them is or whatever.
Oh, those other products. Oh, okay. Well, whatever. So let's see. S. Lopez agrees with us on the Paris trip. They aren't nice. Yeah, it's all kind of poo-poo. But actually, I talked to Nadine. For those of you that know who Nadine is usually a regular when she can be. She lives in France. She comes on our Wednesdays many times and pop-up so days. And I asked her about that, and she goes, oh, yeah, Paris. Because she doesn't live in Paris. But, it's kind of like the big city mentality, right? Anywhere in the world.
Well, you know what? The problem is with Paris is they get a lot of tourists from all over the world. and I guess they get fed up with them as well as anywhere else, and they tend to be probably a little short tempered with you. So
Well, you're in a restaurant and you order something and they go, no, we don't have that. You will have this. Poo poo.
well, that's also Rome.
Well, yeah, Rome, but when in Rome, you've got to do what the Romans do because there's no arguing with Italians about anything. Just sit back and enjoy it. And like the thing about eating in Rome or in Italy in general is I always have a hard time figuring out which order you're supposed to order. I mean, there's primo, seconda, and all this kind of stuff, and they eat things in a little different order than we do. So it takes a little time to get used to that. But usually the food we've had when we were in Rome was good.
Yeah.
Rome's expensive, but then every place is expensive. I just remember the last time we went to Rome.
Well, this trip will be expensive.
Oh yeah, yes, it's not going to be. We could get new windows, or we can go to Holland. Guess which we picked? Holland. I got to get used to calling it the Netherlands.
Yeah, it's Netherlands. Yeah, same with me. When I grew up, my parents always called it Holland, and it was like they came from there. And now it's the Netherlands because Holland is really only one area of Holland, of Netherlands, and this is the whole country. So.
Well, what is Holland the original part before they sucked all the
Yeah,
water out?
yeah.
And so the Netherlands
There's
is the
North
reclaimed,
Holland and South Holland. But,
so the Netherlands is the reclaimed areas
well,
from the
no,
sea.
Netherlands is the whole country. So,
Well, there's a joke, and I have to tell it. You've all heard about the little Dutch boy with his
little
finger.
gay Dutch.
Okay, thank you. I was getting to that, but you just undercut it every time. Now I don't want to tell it.
Go ahead, tell it.
Hear about the little gay Dutch boy with his finger in the dike? Neither one were enjoying it. Okay, there you go. Ba-dum-bump. I'm here all week, people. Try the veal. Don't tip this waitress. Okay. Vicky says, I'm so glad I got to go to Europe back in 63 because there wasn't as much bad things happening. I must say I did not like Paris, but the French food was wonderful.
We never had a good.
We never got
had
any good food in France.
No.
Yeah, when we were there, not in Paris. Anyways, I mean, maybe it was us at the time. Maybe we just didn't know what to order.
I think when we went outside of Paris,
yeah,
we got some decent food, but
I think, but it's like French wines. Okay, when we were the last time we were in France, we did a winery kind of tour. And they're all about French wines. They have to be this way and then that way, and they're so great. There's lots of wines around the world that are just as good, and in many cases better. I find French wines heavy. They're great meal, and we can get French wines here in Canada. That's not really a problem for us. But they have the French, are very, I don't know, snotty about their stuff. That it's just. I used to show the kids in my English class a video I found from a university professor talking about the evolution of the English language, and of course there's the French influence that came in the just before Middle English in the Anglo-Saxon period when it came in, the Normans and everything. And he talks always about that the French have got to have the perfect word for the perfect thing. So he says, when I go into a restaurant and I order deer meat in a regular restaurant, that's fine. But when I go into a restaurant and order in a French restaurant and I order venison, then it's just deer meat that costs me 3 times as much. So it's kind of using that to sum up how they are. They do have an air about them. But I don't hate it, but we've been to Paris. The first time I ever was in Paris, I said to Walter, oh my God, I can see why people want to come here. Because it is, especially at night, the Eiffel Tower lights up. If you're at a place called Trocadero, which is across from the Eiffel Tower, but a fair ways from the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, and it's raised up.
It's raised up, and you get
like
this.
You're on a hill, so
it is spectacular. It really is spectacular.
I mean, yeah, Paris has nice sights. There's lots of things to see. I mean, and lots of things to do. We went and took trip into modern Paris that was interesting because they have a modern art to
Yes.
there. And we had a good time there too. And we
I
that probably
love.
that last time we went in 2004 was nice, but that was before it got really, really, really crowded.
Yeah.
And the last time when we took that 1 day trip from London to Paris, there was one museum that I kind of wanted to see, and we couldn't get into it because it was too busy. There was a huge lineup.
What museum was that?
That was the Pompidou.
Oh, the
thing.
pump. Yeah.
And then
Center,
so
yeah.
we ended up going to Musée d'Orsay instead, and we had a good time there. And actually, we had a decent meal in Musée d'Orsay.
Yes, we
at
did.
the right inside the museum, and I mean it wasn't cheap.
Well, it wasn't cheap,
but it was good. And so we spent our day there, and we walked around a little bit more around Paris, and went back home at night. But we had a shitty meal in that crappy restaurant.
Oh yeah, that one that was across from the train
Yeah,
station.
well,
that
it was our fault. So.
Yeah, it was our fault. That was a tourist.
So we were just hungry, and
we just wanted to eat whatever. But I love one thing I do love about Paris is the museums. I absolutely love the Louvre. I mean, I can spend so long in the Louvre, and then d'Orsay, which is more the.
We went years ago. We went and we did a tour through d'Orsay or whatever, a museum, and it was boring because
we went on a guided tour, and that guy was all about
Monet.
The Monet. You must see the Monet. The Monet. To tell us for 3 hours about Monet. Okay, Monet's nice to see. 3 hours of listening about Monet, not so good. Not so good.
No, I know. So then we went by ourselves, and we enjoyed it much more the second time around.
Yeah. So we're backing up here. And that says, wear a Canada t-shirt, everyone will love you. Well, yes, but we're going to be more subtle. We have, little travel tags for our bags that have a Canadian flag on them. Anytime we travel in Europe, though,
we tend to be fairly discreet.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody asks you, somebody might ask you if you're American, and we say no way.
They should love us in Swallow, though. They're
Swallow,
all about
yeah,
Canadians
Swallow,
there right now, and they're having all of these events and everything.
And my parents are from Zola. So.
Yeah, so that works. And yeah. S. Lopez says, I like the talcum powder from M&S. Yeah, we used to have M&S here in Canada. But not anymore. They've all closed out a long time ago. But I always kind of liked M&S too because they had great underwear. Because when I was in high school, my mother bought me underwear. I swear it had puppies on it, and that stuff did not rot until I had to throw it out, and it was still good. 20 years later.
It's because it was made out of polyester.
I think so. Yes, it didn't breathe.
Yeah, somebody said, well, I just take elastic for my underwear. No, I take...
You take elastic for your underwear.
No, says, and Barb says, so in other words, Walter travels with just elastic for his underwear.
Oh.
No, I take
G-string.
I take underwear that are close to being time to be discarded. And so that's good time to get rid of it.
And he does.
And I don't have to carry it around with me.
I'm glad that I don't want to be. I say to Walter, okay, when we're checking out here, let's go quick before the housekeepers get in there and check the garbage for your underwear. I mean, how embarrassing. Really.
Well, I'm sure I'm not the only person that does that.
Well, I don't know, maybe not, whatever. I was going down here.
It just becomes like your luggage gets lighter and lighter instead of heavier and heavier.
That's true. Vicky says she spent most of her European trip looking at art and historical sites in the inside of many cathedrals. Yes, there's no lack of cathedrals and castles, if you're in England part. I was able to go to the Lourdes and Fatima while in France, had family in Fatima. I don't think have ever been to either one of those places.
No, we went to last time we were
there. We were in Lyon.
Yeah,
and we've been to the French Riviera.
Yeah, and we were in where's this other? I can't remember the other place. So we were in that when we were on that cruise that when we went to the beaches and stuff when we went to a couple of seaside towns.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
right. But I don't remember what
and
those were called.
I forget we went to another place. I can't remember that. That's a big place in it's a big place in France that we were that isn't Paris.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there's lots to see in
Oh yeah,
France,
there's
if
all
people
kinds of
want it.
old. The one thing I like about going over there is that the history that's there. So
Yeah, and you saying about all the old stuff, almost as old as Walter. Yeah. But anyways, Mary's here now. Hi, Mary. So, anyways, yeah, we're getting starting. We leave on the 12th of May. The worst part of going on a trip
it's about 2 weeks.
yeah, okay. Finish a sentence much? No, because I
No.
can't because Walter doesn't let me finish a sentence. Um Now, and when I can't finish a sentence, I forget what I was going to finish it with because he successfully took my thought off the track. Train off the track.
Yeah, in about 2 weeks. Yeah. Oh,
What I
hey.
was going to say was, no, I don't have any clue.
Okay.
Right out the window. Okay, moving
old
on.
Man.
Moving on. I haven't got a clue. Okay, what have I been working on? Oh, Walter also hemmed a pair of jeans for me, which happened to be his pair of jeans, but Walter, they're too big for him now. Yeah, likes to rub that in. Well, he's been walking, as you know, and I have started walking too. In fact, we went for almost 5 kilometer walk today. Went down to the post office to figure out how I'm going to ship the prizes that people won to them, and we walked back. So yeah, we're all about that now. And so I bought 2 pairs of jeans I want to take on this trip, and I mentioned this before. No, even if you buy the same brand of jeans, exactly the same size, they never are. But I always have to hem the damn things because I used to be a 30-inch inseam, but now I'm more like about a 28 or 27. And try and find those in my waist size. Not that my waist size is really that big. We're talking still well under 40. Well under 40, I'll have you know. And don't you make Google eyes about that. You're no that skinny mini. Um, and I hemmed 1 pair, but I kind of hemmed them wrong, and I knew it was wrong when I did it. But so they're frank, and so he gave me this pair that he doesn't fit into anymore because they're too big, and yeah, they're 30s, and in leg length. God, I wish they were 30s in waist. Haven't been in a pair of 30s since before I was 30. Anyway, so he altered them for me. He hemmed them again. You do it much quicker than I do. You're much more of a seamstress than I am. I'm more of an artiste.
I'm used to hemming stuff.
Yeah, hemming and hawing, really. So what else I've been working on? Well, everybody saw this during the retreat. It is the Barn Star sampler. The top is all done except for I put it on the bed because it's going to go on our bed, and I want it to drape. It needs some borders to make it just a little bit longer. So we were looking at fabric today from my stash, and I have figured out what fabric I'm going to use. I'm going to put 2 borders on it. I'm going to put a 2.5-inch border in one color. I'm going to put a 3.5-inch border as an outside border, and that should make it the right size to drape and everything. And so yeah, and it's a big quilt. It's about 74, something like that, across wide, and about 80, 88 or something long. Might even be 90. I don't remember now. I should write down these measurements. I don't. So yeah, that's the next stage, getting the borders on this, squaring it up, getting the borders on it, and then it'll go on Lucy, the long arm. There could be screaming. There, I tried to keep my seams as flat as I possibly could, but you know, it isn't easy on something like this to do that. So I'm hoping Lucy isn't going to have too much of a problem quilting this when I do it. But Yeah. So it's not done yet, but it's a lot further than it used to be. So yeah, and I've been working on it for 2 bloody years, off and on. And if you saw So Chatty this week, you know about the horror of this bag, the dragon bag. I'm not going to go through them all, but let's just say this isn't the way I wanted it to turn out. And it's a very deep bag. It's kind of Mary Poppins like. You could probably get a hall tree in it as well. So this has inspired us to people want to know how Walter. I was trying to emulate Walter. There was my first mistake.
Well, he kept coming up and asking me questions,
And
but
I
then
did what you told me to do, and I didn't
no,
want.
I didn't. No, I do
Yes, you
anything I
did. You
told you to
you
do.
purposely left things out.
No, I didn't.
You're such a bastard. Yeah,
You didn't follow my instructions.
I followed them to the T.
No, you didn't.
Anyways,
You
I
kept
mean,
came up and asked me questions, and I gave you an answer to it. But then I didn't know you were trying to make what I make. I mean, you asked about the bottom, and you did something totally different than what I told you to do.
the ironic part about all of this is,
Not only that, I would have moved the dragon up higher so that it would be more centered in there.
yeah, well, it would have been more centered up there if when I was cutting it, I was going to allow for the bottom to come up along the side of it, but I didn't really do that. And I don't know. Don't ask me what I did. And there's a little pocket underneath that handle there, and it's too narrow. But we talked all about that on So Chatty this week. So we're going to try again. But this time, Walter is going to show me what I should have done. And that's going to be on So Chatty this week. So, yeah. Anything else here? No, that's just that. So live and learn, I don't know. I do the simplest things with the greatest of complexity, as most people realize. So there is that. Backing up here on what people are saying. Yes, Mary, we leave in about 2 weeks. That is right. Mary said you don't like something about traveling. I don't know what she's talking about.
We just get apprehensive, that's all.
We get apprehensive about it, that's all. Yeah.
I mean, I like to know everything when I'm going there as much as I know as I can, because I don't like any surprises when I get there. So I do all kinds of research. Like now I've done all kinds of research on how to take trains there and what our options are and how the payments are and everything else, and how to go either first class or second class, and what the difference is. And
yeah, Vicky says she went to Italy and saw the Pope and ate Italian food. You saw the Pope? Did you have dinner with him or anything? Like kind of a thing? I wanted a piece of pizza, and they brought me a tower of meats and cheese. It was not the pizza that we get nowadays. No, well, the pizza in Italy
is different.
It's very different.
It's more like well, actually, you can get ones
more like a flatbread.
They're similar to, depending on where you go here. I mean, I don't know about the U.S., but here you can get a more authentic pizza by it. It's a very small pizza. They don't put a lot of toppings on it in Italy.
No, and they don't have a lot of cheese on it either.
No,
like it's big strings of cheese like we're used to in North America with it. Thank you, Darcy. Mary says she thought about the Barnstar, thought about doing it. Yeah, it's a challenge, I can tell you that much. Barb says, I was wondering how long your arms are, Steve, when you showed the bag. Yeah. Well, if I fell in the bag...
His bag drags on the ground.
That's a bad thing? Gravity's not your friend at our age. Bombo is here. Great for a hoop take along. Yeah, actually, if your rulers, your quilting rulers and hoops for your embroidery machine would fit in it very nicely. Yeah, so it's not a complete loss.
Well, I said it was a good bag for his rulers, right? So.
Yeah, but you were being facetious because you are. Vicky says, I love the bag. It would make a wonderful project bag for my knitting. Yeah, I've heard other people say that too. That would be, for that, but I don't knit. Oh, Mary, I was trying to refresh your memory about what you forgot. Oh, okay. I see where you're going with that now, Mary. You don't like something about traveling. Oh, I was talking about the whole thing about the airports. I hate airports. I hate airlines because you never know whether or not your plane is going to be canceled, or the seats that you've paid money to reserve, you're going to get shipped somewhere else. You don't know if some nut job's going to stand up in the plane and be a real Karen. Sorry for anybody who's got a Karen name and that kind of stuff. And they turn the plane around, or they don't take off, and everybody has to deboard. That seems to be popular these days.
Yeah, well, we had that happen twice on more recent flights. Whereas one, I don't know if that one flight was to maybe it was flights to London. I don't know. There was one where two people had an argument on the flight, a few seats up from us, and the one guy said to the other woman, "If you touch my bag," well, it wasn't. It was one on the overhead cabin. "If you touch my bag, I'm gonna punch you out." And she freaked out and said she wasn't gonna sit next to him, and so he got kicked off. Yeah. And of course, we had to wait for his luggage to be removed from the luggage hold because they won't fly with somebody else's luggage in there. And
I mean, they'll take your luggage somewhere else, but they won't fly with somebody else's. That always makes lots of sense to me.
And so we had that situation. Then there was another situation where a lady was on landing after, actually luckily it happened at landing, because I guess one of the stewards came over and accidentally touched this woman, or something. I don't know what he did, but she suddenly made a big fuss that he was all upset. She was all upset that he had touched her, and wouldn't leave the aircraft. So
yeah, so that's the problem. Once we're up in the air, then I know I'm going to my destination, and I'm a little better, especially once I get a drink. But it's just the whole experience of getting onto an airplane, because they don't make your life easy, and it's like a cattle call there. And even if you've got like we have priority boarding, don't we, on this?
Yeah, supposedly.
Yeah, which I don't trust. That's just a name. That's just a term. Yeah, no one seems to ever police that, and it's very stressful. What I should do is have a special gummy before I get in there, but I don't, because the next thing is I'll be put up because I've got drugs in my system or something.
No, actually, I kind of preferred traveling outside the country as opposed to traveling inside the country.
What are you responding
Mary
to?
said that.
I wouldn't travel anywhere today out of the country. Well, I might go back to Ireland, but I would only go by boat. Ooh, I don't know if I'd want to do that. That's a long
trip, and the ocean can be unpredictable.
Yeah. We've been on a lot of cruises.
Yeah, and actually, when we took the cruise that went from New Zealand to Australia, we had very tall waves, and luckily we didn't get sick, but there were a lot of people that got sick.
Yes. Dubrovka says my bag would be perfect for French baguettes. Yeah. Oh, poo. I have a bottle of wine. I've got a piece of stale bread. I have everything I need for French cuisine.
The only problem is that you put a bottle of wine in your bag and you won't be able to find it.
Well, it does sort of have a bottomless pit in there with it. Fine. Make fun of my bag. Whatever. I like the design of the dragon and the phoenix on it. That's why I started, man. I thought, what am I going to do with those? I like that design. Well, I did something with them. It's not a total loss. Like people said, rulers, quilting hoops, whatever. So yeah. Okay, so what's coming up? Events. Sewing with Stephen, as usual, Wednesdays. Everybody's welcome. 9 a.m. is the start time, but you can come and go as you please, whatever fits into your schedule if you want to be there. We always have a good time. No politics. We do not talk politics, okay? And I was very, very happy on the retreat that not once did we ever have any discussions about politics. And I have to thank everybody for that, because I wanted the mood to be light, cheerful, everybody having a good time, and I think we achieved that. From what I was hearing afterwards, people sent me some very nice emails. about it also. I think we managed to do that, and that's what we want on the Wednesdays on the So Days as well. So I already talked about So Chatty this past week. Apparently, it's a comedy routine. People have been mentioning that it was really funny about things. Yeah, well, that happens. And coming up on So Chatty this week, we're not going to get into Walter's bag making this week yet because it's going to take us a little bit of planning, and I have to have my people book a time with Walter's people to, we have to work it all around.
Problem
like
is
when
that
he
if we're
sleep.
going
Problem is
away,
you're sleeping all the time.
if we're going away in 2 weeks, it may take more than 2 weeks to get through that, but I'm not sure. I can do.
Yes.
I have a semi-assembled bag right now, and I can show what I do to get to part of.
Well, my idea is that we'll revisit the dragon bag, and you'll be able, and I'll say what I thought I was doing, and then you will show me what I wasn't doing and correct it. So yeah, why I was an idiot when I did that. Gotta remember, channel's called The Idiot Quilter. So yep, we've got that. But this week coming up, I thought I would do, because I've had some people ask me about that guild presentation that I did a few weeks ago. I think I'll give you the guild presentation, one that's more geared to this environment. Yeah, I thought you might be interested in that kind of thing. Well, I've had a few people mention they would be interested because they asked me, "Did you record it? Did you record it?" And no, we didn't record it. So my videographer, he just took a couple of stupid pictures that, from a distance. Can't get good help. But anyways, that's what's going to be this week as we prepare ourselves for this next episode of the bag making. And whether or not we'll do that before we go off on our trip, hard to say, because we have things to do to get ready for the trip. Okay. But speaking of funny things, okay. Everybody knows Russ from Quilt Meets World. So, Russ sent me a text message a few days ago with a video clip that he thought I would be interested in. And it was all about the proper way to eat one of my favorite foods, spray cheese. But it was kind of a cool thing. And basically what the person did was they took a Ritz cracker, Ritz cracker, the round ones, been around for 1,000 years. And in the center of the cracker, they put the cracker on top of the nozzle for the spray cheese and kind of have to twist it around to punch a hole without cracking your cracker. And then they pushed it so the cheese would come out. And what happened was it went all the way around the Ritz cracker, like on it. And I thought, no, this has got to be one of those fake little 5 minutes crafts or stuff like that, or where people make a cake by throwing a bunch of garbage into a blender and suddenly out comes a beautiful cake. So I thought I'd give it a try. So Russ, this is for you. We made a video of me trying this. So I'm going to put that up here. I got to get it in the right screen. And I'll switch this over. There it is. And oops. Okay, and here we go. Get that over here.
Hang on. Okay.
Okay, Russ, here's the experiment. There's your Ritz cracker. You'll notice the hole in the center is not big enough for the nozzle of this, but the guy in the video sort of pressed it in. Well, I don't know how well that's going to work because it'll probably break the cracker. Oh, maybe not. All right, I got a hole now in the cracker. Then you put it over this. This is not going to work, Russ. Oh shit, it does. It actually worked. I can't believe it. Fun for the whole family. Okay. Okay, my cameraman sucks. But anyways.
Well, I was trying to do a close up on the cracker, and then you shoved it in your mouth before I could pull
Well,
back.
where do you think I put the cracker?
I don't know.
That's where crackers go. You shove them in your hole. So, and Russ says, I forgot about sending you that. I thought you were going to reference the beaver joke. No. No. Mary says, oh wait, backing up here. Barb says, can you pull a coat rack out of your bag? Yes, I can. Mary says, sounds like a great retreat. Yes, where were you? All our Joanne fabric stores are closing. Yep, we know about that, Bon. Do you two order online? Yeah, all the time.
All the time.
Only from Canadian stores.
There's lots of American stores that you can order from.
Yeah.
And if you're just getting quilting cotton, you order all the brand name stuff. You can go looking all over the place. So.
Yeah. Well, Vicky, you should have just told your company to go home. You had something more important. It just slipped by you. Well, you know my saying. If you snooze, you lose. Yeah, you missed a good time. But I'll have another one probably in the fall. I usually do. I have them twice a year. So watch for the announcements of that. I usually give lots of warning weeks before. So then you can plan your life around that if you so desire. Barb says, I thought the cheese was going to spray on the ceiling. Well, Barb,
it didn't come out that fast.
It didn't come out that fast, no. But I kind of thought that too. But I thought, oh my God, that worked. So another thing to keep me amused, and especially have people over. Hey, let me make you an hors d'oeuvre. So I mean, it's either that or I just hand them a can of spray cheese and a box of a few Ritz crackers. Say it's make your own hors d'oeuvre night. Yeah, whatever. Okay, but I had to show you that. So speaking of the retreat, as I said before, everybody I think had a good time. We had lots of prizes. I did have a lady who owns a quilt shop east of us by about a little over an hour or so. She saw me at the guild presentation I did for her guild. And I've met her before because she has this big sale every year. She works out of her house. And she has this big sort of like garage driveway sale we'll be in Holland when she has it this year. Otherwise I'd be there because her prices are really good and she has a really good selection of fabric. And she'd heard about the retreat and she wanted to donate prizes for it. I kind of said, well, no, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Like, I don't like beholding to anybody, but she insisted she was going to send me these things. Well, I thought she was going to send me gift certificates for her shop, and she did. Very generous gift certificates. She sent me 3 $50 each gift certificates. But she also sent me a really nice box of Aurifil threads, one of their like sets, and sent me a really nice strip pack of batiks and that kind of thing. But here's the problem. And I guess I just assumed she realized that my retreat was virtual. So I did give out the prizes. The gift certificates were easy because all I had to do was just send the code to people electronically and they can just plug that code in when they check out from it. Mind you, she's a Canadian store, and that's the other thing I didn't tell her, is that a lot of my people that come to the retreat are Americans. So,
and a lot of Americans don't want to buy from Canadian sources. Not only that, they may be hit by duties and stuff like that.
Well, it's not so much that, it's the shipping cost for her too, yeah. And whatever. So but the other ones I'm shipping them, and here in Canada, shipping stuff wherever you want to ship them is not particularly cheap. That's why we were down at the post office today, because I was looking for what would be an appropriate mailer, because one of the gifts, the fabric strips, are going to our friend Nadine in France.
Maybe we should wait till we go to Holland.
Nadine suggested that, but I don't want to lug that.
No, I don't want to lug it either.
But Nadine did suggest that, and she also gave me some other tips. She told me to mark it as a gift and to put the value on it very low, because she may end up having to pay duty on it. So some complications there. I said to her, look, Nadine, if you want, the other prices I had were digital patterns. I said, I can easily send you a digital pattern. But Nadine has trouble getting fabric in France. And so, no, she says, I want the fabric. So, yeah, I'm going to ship that to her. And the other one, the Aurifil thread's going out west in Canada. So that's a little easier and the whole bit. And the person who won that offered to pay, send it COD. I said, no, that's part of the prize. I mean, it's not a huge thing, but because I don't, and actually when I wrote to the lady who owns this quilt shop, it's called Rhonda's Quilt Creations. Check it out. I have reviewed the the what words am I looking for? Fill me in the blank. I've reviewed her website for her store, because she does most of her business. Yeah, it's not a store you can walk into. It's out in her house. So she does it all online. And so where was I going? There I go. Old seniors
What, you
moment.
reviewed the store?
Oh, I sent her a thing and said thanked her for that again. And I did mention to her, I said, she said, well, she says she'd be happy again next time I have one to donate again. I says, well, thank you. I really appreciate it. I didn't want to sound ungrateful, but I said, one of the things I guess I didn't really explain to you. Well, we didn't really have a conversation about it. My retreats are virtual. And so any gifts, prizes that I have are gifts that I can send via email. Physical ones constitute a cost, and I don't charge for the retreat. I think she thought that the retreat was actually a physical retreat, because she gave me a whole handful of her business cards to hand out too. Well, yeah, I'll include those in the packages that I'm sending by mail. But I also did a special video about when we went to her big sale a year ago and everything as well, because she's a very nice person, very generous, and her prices are really good, and she has a good selection online. And her shipping, I think, is very reasonable, at least for Canadians. I have no idea what she charges to ship things to the States with it all. But anyways, yeah, live and learn with that. But anyways, I was happy that people won it, because they were fantastic gifts. I mean, really, that box of Aurifil thread, I almost want to keep it for myself and not tell anybody. But I didn't. So, yeah. Cheryl says, I'm sorry I couldn't be at the retreat this time. I was at my guild's quilt show all day Friday and Saturday. Well, Cheryl, that's not an excuse. We come first. It's come and go, but we come first. I'm just joking with you. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Whatever. Stephanie said yesterday she's been notified by Moda that prices are going up mid-May if anyone wants or needs fabric. Let's see. Vicky says, Mary, you know whose fault prices are going up? You know who's? Well, oh yeah, we know that. We're not going to talk about it. We're done with that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean, Mary says, to start something. I just want people to know if they have a project coming up.
That prices are going up.
Oh yeah. Well, that's pretty much the prices are going up on fabric everywhere.
I mean, it may affect us as well, because even though technically we're not doing the taxation, there are a lot of our quilt shops purchase their fabric from American suppliers. So
yeah, it is what it is. I mean, the one sad point is this, that we all have to take in consideration. No matter what the reason is behind prices going up, they're never going to come down, no matter what the situation is in the future. Because have you ever seen prices go down on any product once they put them up? Think of COVID. Everything went up. Green peppers are still $2.99, $3.99 a pound or whatever. They didn't come down because COVID disappeared. No, because once manufacturers, once retailers, get people and have people buying the stuff, then they're not going to bring the prices down. That's just economics. You know, it's the world we live in. Candace's very nice retreat. Thank you. You're welcome, Candace. Okay, so yeah, it was a great retreat. We had a good time with everything. We've already talked about the excellent presentations from John and Heidi as well. And lots of prizes, lots of fun. Yeah, so the next one will be sometime in the fall. Stay tuned for whenever that happens. Now, I know some people were probably wondering, did I have anybody on the blacklist? Yes, I do. I have two. Two people who did not show up, have not sent me an email explaining, that they were sorry, didn't show up. I mean, this time it didn't cause me a major grief because I didn't have a waiting list this time. We were down in numbers a little bit, not that much, but we had 66 people, which is pretty good with it. So I didn't have a waiting list, so they didn't fill up a spot that could have gone to somebody on the waiting list. But here's the problem, okay? I put a lot of time and effort into it. I make no bones about it. I'm not asking for a pat on the back for that. I enjoy doing it. If I didn't enjoy doing it, I wouldn't do it. But I still put a lot of time and effort into it. And when somebody who signs up for it and are going to come and they don't send me, I know life happens, don't send me a little short message saying, I'm so sorry, I've had this happen, I can't come. I don't need a whole story. I don't need a book, a couple lines, okay? But when they go into radio silence, don't say anything. Hurts. That hurts. People might say you shouldn't take it personally. Yes, I should. This is a personal event for me. I put all my time and effort into it. It costs nobody except me anything for it. I've already discussed why I don't charge for it. I am not a business. I am not set up to charge for things like this. I don't want to have to deal with a new set of problems when you start charging for things. Okay? My presenters graciously do their presentation, give their time and effort and everything absolutely free. And I bless them for that because I can't pay them. And those two presentations we had were definitely fee worthy. I am sending a nice thank you gift, but they don't charge for it. So when somebody signs up and they go into radio silence for whatever reason, they're blacklisted. Now, I will give these two individuals a chance to redeem themselves. And maybe that sounds arrogant, but sorry, it's the way it is. If I hear nothing from them within the next 1 or 2 days, and depending on what they tell me, I do reserve the right to decide whether or not they're telling me the truth or it's an excuse. And you have to remember what I used to do for a living. High school teacher. I've heard all the excuses why someone didn't do their homework or hand in their assignment. I've heard them all. So yeah, I will be a bit suspicious on that. But that's the way it works. Now, I had one person who let me know on Thursday that she wasn't going to be able to come because suddenly her husband went into hospital. That's legit. And I'm so sorry that that happened. And then it turned out things were okay and she was able to come to it. But you see, even though she was probably going through a very much of a crisis situation, she still took 2 minutes to write me a quickie email so I knew. So yeah. But I'm very happy to say that it was only 2 people. Okay.
There's usually at least one or two.
I always expect 1 or 2. In fact, we had a little contest, see how many people would end up on the blacklist. And I think I said yesterday it was 1, but then I realized no, it was 2. One person, I kind of have a suspicion why they weren't there. Because I think they live in Sweden. So time difference. But, they should have kind of figured that out before they signed up. But I'm not absolutely sure about that.
Now, mind you, we do have Nadine come.
Yeah, Nadine made it. She's France, and she's five hours ahead of us. So yeah. But anyways, that's the way things go. Uh, Charlotte got a lot done on the retreat, and she loved the presentations. That's good. Gas prices are down in Calgary, Barb says, currently 127.
I think they're 134 here.
Yeah, you said they were up. Yeah. So, anyways, the retreat was great. As far as so days are concerned, probably won't be one before we go to Holland. I'll have one afterwards. And of course, once we go to Holland, then stay tuned because I'm going to, depending on the technology, the internet connections, everything like that, I am going to try to put, out a video every day, every other day of what we've seen and what we've done. There'll be short videos. We may even try to do a couple of lives while we're there, but again, it's going to depend on internet connections and how that all works wherever we are over in Holland. Now, for those of you that were at the retreat, you all got early access to my 2 latest patterns. And they're absolutely free. And I also created a tutorial for one of those patterns as well on YouTube, which is now live on YouTube. And anybody who wants one of the patterns, those patterns, you'll find them in the show notes. They're linked to my Google Drive. Feel free to download them. They're PDF files, and enjoy. If by chance when you're working on it, I've gone through them very, very well with them, but I am an idiot. So if you find something that you think is a major error or problem, let me know, and I'll check it out with that. Okay, so what else do we have coming up? We have an election. Tomorrow is the day where we see what direction our country's going to take. Will it go with someone who is sensible, logical, knows about economics, is very diplomatic, or are we going to go with the asshole called Pierre Poilievre, who is in Trump's back pocket? We shall see. We're hoping that we end up, Walter and I are hoping that we get a liberal majority. That would be ideal, with Mark Carney as our prime minister. Things are looking good towards that, at least maybe not a majority government.
Based on the polls, but we'll see.
But, polls fluctuate. You don't know until it's over. We've already voted.
Plus, it doesn't work by the popular vote anyway. So
no.
It works based on who gets elected regionally. So.
Yeah. Who gets the most seats. So, and that's the party that makes up the government, and whoever the leader of the party is, in the case of Liberals, Mark Carney, he will be prime minister. So we'll see. What would be really ideal is to see that the Liberals get a majority and the Conservatives have so few seats that they lose their official party status. That would be a dream come true. Don't think it will happen. We have enough nutballs in this country who think Pierre Poilievre is just a god.
I was wondering where you were, and I heard your accent. Good luck tomorrow. Where are you? That we have.
Is Raven talking to us or someone else?
Oh,
wait, they couldn't hear somebody else's accent. I was wondering where you two were, and then I heard your accent go. Oh, she's probably talking about the election. With it. Our Canadian accent, eh? Yeah, they like the moose.
Well, we're not from Newfoundland, so.
No. That's an accent. Andy says she likes Carney. Obviously very intelligent, lucky you. Yes, he is. So far, I have been, he was sort of, nobody really knew him much before this election got going, till he got picked as the leader of the party, because he's not been really in the mainstream of politics.
Isn't actually technically a politician.
So. No. But he is someone who knows about finances because he was the head of the Bank of Canada and he was the head of the Bank of England at one point in time. He knows economics. So,
whereas the other one's only ever been a politician.
Yeah. So. Raymond says, you sound very similar to myself in Wisconsin, but you're always a little different. Ew. Wisconsin, you say? Oh, yeah, don't you have the... No, that's Minnesota. They have the cheese. Whatever.
Wisconsin. I thought it was Wisconsin that was cheese.
Is it Wisconsin that's cheese? Somebody's cheesy. I'm not sure which, besides us. But anyways, so we'll see what we see when it happens tomorrow. All right, so we've talked a lot about everything except what I put up in the header, which you might think is clickbait. It is, a little bit. But I thought you might want to know about the stuff that content creators see on a YouTube channel that most people who aren't content creators know nothing about. The hidden statistics. Now, if you're a business, you run your YouTube channel like a business, you're probably very much into the analytics and trying to tweak your channel so you can pull in more viewers, because more viewers means that they get more ad time, and that's how Google, the Google owns YouTube. It's Alpha, is the big company, how they pay you. So we're going to reveal the secrets that only content creators see. And I will admit that I do not go into the statistics very often because really they're very confusing. But here's what's called an overview of the channel. And they do it for a 28-day period. So my views are about the same, it says, as usual, 21,800 views on my channel in the last 28 days. Watch time in hours is about 6 hours. It's 98.9, less than usual, which I have no idea what they're talking there. Subscribers in the last 28 days, I got 78 new subscribers. It's the same as usual. And then there's estimated revenue. We'll come back to revenue before you get excited about that. Then they show you your top content in this period. This one has been my top content for a long time. It's way back from 2022 when I did an interview with Kate Jackson of The Last Homely House. Now, this is based upon the last 28 days. So in the last, even though that's 3 years old, that video, it's had 2,522 views in the 28-day period. And then it goes down from there. So this gives you a sense of what people are watching in that time period. This is about average for me, for our channel. We range anywhere from about 700 up to 900. Occasionally we go a little higher, like this one. Now, this is an old episode. This is 2018. And in the 28-day period, there's been 1,703 views of this, which means that's 7 years old. But obviously people are really interested in free motion quilting with that. So that's one of the fourth episode in the Idiot Quilt. So that tells you some things there. Latest content, Windmills on My Mind. This is I just released this. And in the first 8 hours, there's been 240 views. Don't ask me what impressions, click-through rate are, all that kind of stuff. That confuses me. So if we look at the content a little bit more on here, this talks about things in a little bit more detail. New viewers are watching the videos. 4,600 people in the last 28 days were watching the videos. The live streams, which we only do once a week, we've had 105. No, wait, I don't know what that means. 105 last 28 days. We've had more than that watch the live stream, so I'm not sure what that statistic comes. Shorts, I only make one short a week, and that's just to announce that we're on the live, 472. So returning viewers, see, this is overkill in analytics. That's why I don't pay a lot of attention to it. Subscribers, in the last 8 days, I've gotten, according to this, 92. Before it said it was 78. I don't know what that means. But to give you all of these statistics, which I guess if you're an analytical person and you like stats, maybe this means something to you. To me, it means nothing. There's something they call impressions and how they led to watch time. And how, okay, so I'm not sure what impressions are. I can click here, you recommending your content. Okay, so YouTube recommended my content 67.1% of the time. Recommended on the home page, 44.7%. Recommended on watch page, 22.4. Viewers seeking your content, 32.9. I guess when they do a search, that kind of thing. So again, that'll mean a heck of a lot to me. How viewers find me, this is kind of interesting. The majority of people who watch my videos find me by looks like they do searches through the browser, 45.5. Suggested videos, you know how YouTube comes up and gives you, well, we found this for you kind of a thing, 19.3%. YouTube search, the search bar, 11.2. Through short feeds, well, I don't do short feeds really. Notifications. This is interesting with notifications. That's the little bell. You know, content creators always telling you, ring the little bell. That bloody bell works off and on. YouTube has never fixed that. I usually, if I subscribe to a channel, I will click that bell and to get notifications. It's hit and miss whether I'm going to get notifications with it. And I go in and I check to see if it's been checked properly for all notifications. It is. Yeah. And I've heard lots of people say that too about it. Now, audience, though, is interesting. Okay. It says up here, get that off the screen. I don't know what that is. Okay. Returning viewers. So again, this is all based on the last 28 days. 3,200 people have returned to my channel. Unique viewers, that would be people who aren't probably subscribed or just found me by one of those other methods. 8,400. That's pretty high, at least in my estimation.
That's why you should tell them to subscribe.
I guess, because those are we'll come to that, but those are probably non-subscribers. Then I don't know what any of this means. It says new viewers who returned content for these particular videos. I guess showing what people are watching. I don't know. See more. In 7 days video performance. And there's these charts. So in 7 days, the interview I did with Barry, 814 views. On March 18th, one that I did about new toys, things that I bought. People love those kind of videos. Like, look at that, tells me something there. Like over 1,000 people viewed that, so that caught their attention. Quilting and tariffs, which was more political, 876, etc. So this gives you an idea. What you could do is you can sit down and you can analyze your content and go, okay, what really pulls in the viewers? What do they want? What are they looking for? This is why so many content creators create box unopenings or hauls, because people gravitate towards those all the time. Anytime I've done a haul video, or on the rare occasion when I've done a box opening, and I don't usually do a separate one for either one of those, they're usually embedded in something I'm doing for the week, I pull in subscribers. So that tells me what they like from that. Like this one says there's not enough data to tell me what channels the audience watches, other channels and things. But I suppose if that came up, then you could sort of gear your content in that direction. I think that's cheating, but I don't know. Format your viewers watch on YouTube. Okay, this is purple lines. It goes from nobody watches to everybody watches. Well, everybody watches videos. Everybody watches shorts. Everybody watches live. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that information. And when your viewers are on YouTube, when they are there, well, it looks like the bulk of people like to watch closer into the late afternoon and evening on any day of the week. Sunday seems to be very popular, but Saturday and Friday aren't bad either. So, yeah. Now, here's one about the bell notification we were talking about earlier. Subscribers who turned on all notifications for your channel Only 17.1% did that. They say typical on YouTube is 10 to 30%. So I'm kind of in the middle on that. And subscribers who turned on all notifications for your channel and enabled your YouTube notifications, 10%. It's kind of in the middle too, because they say it's typical, it's 5% to 20%. So there's, like what Walter said, this is why you get a lot of content creators keep saying, turn on the bell, you know, and subscribe, because that's how you get it. Watch time from subscribers. I don't know what that means. That, I don't know. Top geography. Okay, this is interesting. Where did the bulk of my viewers come from? Our viewers come from? Well, the United States. That's not surprising. 59.3%. Canada is the next highest at 16.4%. Well, there's more people in the United States. I don't know. The Canadians are out moose hunting or something. They don't have time for YouTube. United Kingdom 5.4%, Australia 3.3%, and Germany 0.1%. I think there's one German that watches. I don't know. Age and gender is fun. Okay, gender. 92.9% of you are female. This is not surprising. It's a quilting channel. Okay, so of course it's going to attract more females than males. 7.1 males. User specified. I don't know what that is. Now the age group. Well, I really don't have a lot of appeal for the kids. Okay, nor for the young adults, or for the 30-something, or into the 40s. 2% are between 45 and 54. 55 to 64 years old is 23.9, but the bulk are old people. I have old age home appeal.
Okay, so we'll have to have a good sponsor for Depends, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of, and then they've got one by languages based on closed captioning. Well, no subtitles, because, you know, the majority of my viewers are English speaking, right? No Spanish, no German, no Russian. Okay. That makes perfect sense to me too. Device types. The majority of people, 5%, are watching us on TV. 23% are watching on their tablets. 16.8% are on their mobile phone, and only 13.8% are on computer watching, which I find kind of interesting. But if you match that up with the age group, 65 plus, these are people, I think, that are more comfortable watching it on their television rather than these other devices. You know, and I know a lot of older people have tablets and they use them quite a bit. So yeah, there's probably a correlation there. All right, revenue. Yes, I make millions. Okay, in the last 28 days, it says I have made $288.85. That comes from ads that YouTube puts on. Okay, that's the monetization. However, I don't get that amount of money. YouTube takes a tax. They take 30% of whatever I make per month of that. So $288.85, 30% of that is $86.
So, and if you divide that into if you divide your proceeds in, which is what, about $200,
yeah,
right? Into how many videos do you make, and divide
I make 4 a week minimum.
Okay, so 4 times 4 is 16. So divide 16 into about $200. So you only make about $12 a video.
Yep. Big money, people. You're not going to get rich doing this. Now, there are channels that do, but they're the ones that do it as a business. They usually have vast amounts of numbers of people.
Millions of viewers.
Millions of viewers. They put up one video, they will get 1 million views on it, or 800,000 or something like that. That's where it all comes from them. They also supplement their income. They're not just getting it from ads. They have sponsorships. They have, buy me a coffee. They have super chats. You'll notice I've never had a super chat on here. That's where you tip, basically, us. And, you know, anything that you have to write a question or a comment you make goes to the top of the chat screen. Personally, I think that's a ripoff. I feel that I need to give people something if they're going to pay me for something. So I've never done it, never will. Or they have a Patreon, or have a Patreon. So some YouTube creators are very clever in the way they can generate income for themselves. And then this tells you how much I earned each month. Now, December looks like I did really well. You know why? Box opening, Missouri Star built, Advent box. Like I said, box openings and hauls, pull them in. But I didn't get $516. Subtract $150 from that. Okay? But that's December. The rest, not so much. And I don't care because it doesn't matter. Then I can see which videos are pulling in the most money in the last 28 days. This one, the what that was called, that working but getting nothing done. That was April 15th, a week ago's, or this past week? No, a week ago or so, episode of the Idiot Quilter. I made $22.28 on that. And then the other ones go down from there. The thing about these statistics that they're showing with the money, they're not accurate.
No.
They're making it look like I've made a lot more money than I have on these, and I haven't. So I don't know where they necessarily, how they do their calculation with that. So trends. Okay, this is something that they have put up recently using AI. So sometimes we have a hard time coming up with an idea. This isn't such a bad thing. I had never played with it until today. So it says, get ideas for your next video. Okay, let's say we want to do a video about tote bag.
Top bags.
That would be for babies. Tote bag making. So do a search. Okay. It says very high interest from your viewers. So this tells me something. If I have something like that, I'm going to pull in possibly more viewers. So it says brainstorm video ideas. Okay, it comes up with all of this stuff. Tote bag making, eco-friendly fabrics, upcycled tote bags from old clothes, tote bags, hacks for beginners. You see, they've got high interest, very high interest for that one. Also very high. Tote bag making, the ultimate guide. DIY tote bags with a personal touch. So these are all their suggestions, and they have a little blurb about it. The AI is just putting things together with it. These don't exist yet. So let's go to tote bag hacks for beginners. So what it does is it creates an outline for you. Stay in it. There you go. And it shows you sections. There's an introduction. There's materials and tools, basic construction, creative hacks, conclusion. So it's outlining for you a possible video content. And it gives you particular things in here, like start with a catchy hook. Tired of boring bags? Let's make a statement with a personalized tote. Showcase a few trendy tote bag styles. Highlight the versatility and appeal of tote bags for various occasions. So it gives you all these suggestions. You can fine tune it in here. So describe how you'd like to change this outline. More inspiration. You go down further, go back here. They have titles, suggested titles. Tote bag hacks you need to know. DIY tote bag makeover, easy and stylish. Upcycle your old t-shirts into tote bags. Beginner guide to tote bag customization. And then they actually have thumbnails for your, your opening screen. And you can go into more detail. So this is something new that they started only about a month or so ago. It's all AI generated. You can alter it, do whatever you want. But the reason I'm also showing you this, actually, I don't have anything against this. It's a stimulus for ideas. Okay. But there are content creators out there that are using other AI programs along with this to create the voiceover, to create stock pictures, to create a large number in a very short time of videos about topics that they have probably done some research back on all those statistics and have decided what's going to bring them in more viewers. So they're not interested in necessarily entertaining and informing their viewers. What they're interested in is getting warm bodies in the seat so they make more money. And that's how that's being generated. So as I've said earlier, you can usually tell an AI generated video. It's going to have a lot of stock photos, video clips, and the voice is going to sound just a little too perfect. That's being used with it. All AI generated, and this is where they may have started to generate those ideas from. So I thought you might be interested in how that all works. As I said, I don't use this. If I'm really stuck for an idea, I might go in and play around with it to see what it is, but it's still going to be my content. It's not going to be AI generated content. So what are people saying here? Oops, go back here. Yeah, Heather says tomorrow's going to be a stressful day in Canada, hoping for a red wave. Yep, so are we. Inez loves Kate. Mary says, whoops, my son is here. I'll see you all soon. Okay, Mary. Charlotte says, I've gotten a lot of your older videos popping up in my suggested videos lately. Yeah, I'm not sure how the algorithm works with that. This is where I put it in. I let Nightbot do it. Please like and subscribe to our channel. But according to my statistics, there's lots of you that watch me that are not subscribed.
But the problem is that everybody.
These ones are all subscribed. Yeah, that's right, because that's how the live works. Yeah, where I set the live up for that you can't be in the chat unless you're a subscriber. And Cheryl says, same age group breakdown as all my quilt guilds. Yeah, pretty much. She watches on her TV and phone at the same time, so I can comment easier. I do the same thing. Yeah, I do the same thing, because on the TV, you can't write in the chat. You have to do it on another device, like an iPad, computer, or your phone. Candace says, how much do you spend monthly for streaming software and Zoom? Well, okay. Zoom costs me about, with tax, close to about $30 a month for the license I have. The for streaming software, really don't pay anything for that because you stream through YouTube. However, I do have a subscription to my Stream Deck, which allows me to switch my cameras, like, so I can do things like, this and back. But that's only, I think, under $3 a month I pay for it. Now, then you have to add in, though, your internet service.
Yeah, well, we'd have
that anyways, so yeah. So that's not really a factor in there. So I don't spend, actually, the cost is not so much in dollars and cents. The cost is in time and effort. Everything that I put up on YouTube, I do not script it, but I outline it. I have my list of things. I start working, like, for example, tomorrow I will post my vlog on Mondays, but as soon as I've got that posted, I'll be working on next week's vlog. And as the week goes on, I add to it.
Yeah, but you have to remember that you're doing it not as a business.
No, I'm not doing it as a business. I'm doing it because it's my hobby. I enjoy doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, so the there isn't a look for a profit. Maybe more, he's doing better than breaking even, so that's good.
Yeah. But I don't do it for, I'm not doing it for the money. So, I mean, if I was really serious about making money from this, I would have a Patreon. You would see the little super chat thing in there. You would see that part that says join in that. There's all kinds of ways that you can get more money out of YouTube. I don't do that. I don't do that. That's just me. Because once it becomes that, then you become obsessed with making money, and I
No
mean,
longer fun.
it's no longer fun.
It's a business.
Yeah, that's right. Um, Andy says AI, the death of expertise. Yep, probably. Carol says those AI suggestions would take away the uniqueness of your channel. I like knowing what to expect each of your days. Yes, it would. Um, but I think it has its place as a form of brainstorming. When you're really stuck for something, I mean, when we really get stuck, especially with So Chatty, as to what we're going to talk about. You know, our goal is to make our entertainment informative, and if a little humor enters into it occasionally, that's okay too. Okay, unintentional humor. We don't sit down and plan the humor. All right, it just sometimes happens. But we want to make something that people feel is worth watching. That's the thing. Pamela says it's really interesting, all about marketing yourself. Yeah, that's what it is. Hilchin says, hi to everybody from Germany. Hi, there's the one German that the statistics that I have. The Steaming Bean, newbie here, watching from northern Saskatchewan. Oh, a Canadian. Yay. Welcome to the channel. Pamela says, if you make any changes based on the data, I hope you let us know if it's successful. Yeah, I'm not going to study that. I just thought it was kind of interesting to show you what's behind the scenes. Pamela watches on her TV. Comment with my photo so I'm on 2 devices. Comment with my photo so I'm on 2 devices. Okay. Costs just eat into your profit. Yeah, true, Candace, it does. I don't look at it as profit. Yes, Stevie Bean, I did interview Barry Hughes a few weeks ago, and you'll find it on the channel. Look under the Idiot Quilter playlist, and you'll find it in there. Ruth Roberts says, so I just joined. What's the answer to the question? Is our channel successful? It depends on how, actually, that's a really good question you're asking, Ruth. It depends on how you define successful. I think it's successful because every week I gain maybe 1 or 2 new subscribers.
And it's successful because you feel like you're doing something. You feel like you're doing something.
I feel like I'm doing something that isn't just a mindless waste of time. Okay? And people write comments and tell me how much they appreciate that or whatnot, or what they've learned, or that kind of stuff. So, yeah. So, yes, I am a success in my mind for doing that. But I didn't set a really high bar for this kind of a thing. Yeah, and a high bar would be looking at it at money. I'll admit, when I first got monetized, I was watching how much money I was making because I didn't think I would make any. But like I said, I averaged $200 a month after the taxes and everything. So I pay American taxes on it. Yeah. Don't tell the Canadian government about this or I won't have any money left. Let's see. So yeah, the answer to your question, Ruth, is I'm not a celebrity, I'm not a star, but I don't rate myself according to that. I rate myself, as Walter just said, how well received the videos are, and if people get something out of them, then I figure if they're learning something and I've helped them with something, then it's a success. Yeah. Barb says, yeah, but that, The Steaming Bean says, I knew Barry's channel when it focused on his health. I didn't, Steaming Bean. I found him by accident. And his channel appealed to me because he was talking about what it was like to retire, and I could see a lot of how I got started in the channel was in my retirement as well. And I like to interview people that I can help give them a boost to their channel as they're starting out. Because I had a few people do that for me. Ruth
Powers, I think in Mount Etza, they have a very successful channel. Okay. There's Candace says your bickering is just too funny. I'm sure that cool dude sitting next to you thinks that you're a success.
Really? You're new to the channel, aren't you?
Get to know him. Uh-huh. Darcy says maybe you are successful if the ones watching you are enjoying your channel. Yeah, I would say that. I suggested Barry to you because he sent me a message and told me he was on the Red Green show. Oh, okay, Barb. Yeah, that's right. He was suggested to me. That's how I found him. Yep. Thank you, Barb. Pamela says, you're still an educator. You have been very helpful to me on many occasions. Well, that's the other reason why I do the channel. You know, old teachers never die. They just lose their class. So anyways, we've gone way over the time we usually do today. So anyways, thanks everybody for coming and joining us today. And I hope you got something out of it, whatever. And yeah, next week, vlog, Monday, The Idiot Quilter, Tuesday, Sewing with Steven, Wednesday, So Chatty, Friday. And we're back to our live again on Sunday. So a full week, and hopefully we will be a strong country after tomorrow with the right person in power. Yeah. So everybody have a really great week, and we'll see you later.